Okay, let there be mind. Okay, let there be mind. Okay, let there be mind. I'm going to observe almost at the same time that you do the surprise, even if just the relative surprise, of what is coming out of my mouth. There might have been a relative plan, even by creating this relative simple presentation slides. Perhaps in relation to an interaction with a friend recently, perhaps not related. Not always I use the air coming out of my mouth to get me and you listen to this air as the machine allows to record it and then brings to you on the through the use of sound waves or recording the vibration in the air, and then it reaches to your ears, also the eyes, and I'm surprised in a way, or curious might be more accurate. What will this all be about? Sometimes the messages are clear, meaning there seems to be a specific way of moving the mouth, and the way the air flows outside and reaches to your ears. I'll more refer it, I'm simplifying it sometimes as it seems, although this is a pretty much complex picture if you're watching. And it seems the air that comes to you may be caught within you and even bring you to be aware of this area of the lips where your own air goes out. Or maybe I speak about the place where the air leaves the lips and you place your attention on the air reaching your ears. It may be too fast for you, most likely too fast for you and for me to grasp this air reaching to our system. I call it air, we may call it sound, we may determine whatever we like. This visual aid, or light reaching to your eyes, and I've been taught to make use of it. So this white over black, the cutting of the shapes, now the attention is a bit to another part. Yeah? Still using the air out of my mouth. And this aid of light reaching to your ears. I was curious as I watched myself create this relative simple figure. What will be the relative outcome of it? Thinking of you, and also in that part of you, a friend. For the moment I labeled it as a friend. If I will bring a specific teaching over mind, will I even speak in a coherent language? Yeah, the air coming out of my mouth with all what I've learned around this attractive word to some. As I was preparing this very, I call it a simple presentation, yeah, of let there be mind, I could hear the voices inside my mind. I learned how to place it, to call it this. This came from there. And I learned to identify the, yeah, whether space or time. This is all very simple. And I heard different sounds assuming what I am going to, what air I am going to produce. Sounds, concept, language, whatever you cut the shape into, yeah? You see, this light already reaches and makes its movement within your system. It would be different and had I kept it like that. It would be different for the eyes. Just that, it would be different. It is different. Or had it been like that. Or maybe that is this and this is that. And you see? So these own voices that I could recognize. As I learned, I call it acoustic, the language of acoustics. In this case, layered as English. Sometimes it seems to be layered in Hebrew, and there seems to be a difference, because the way it reaches from me also impacts the way my mouth moves, my lips, my tongue, and the way it reaches you. And it seems not yet I'm inclined to what people call the language of gibberish, or yeah. And I could hear voices kind of wondering if I'd bring my own teachings. I am bringing, in a way, around that also attractive to me word shape. In this case, black over white. There can be different contrasted colors. Maybe to a carpenter, or maybe would be. Yeah, maybe to a carpenter would be. More appealing as a substance. And maybe I am a carpenter of mind. Maybe. I don't know if I am full of mind or empty of mind. I watch different aspects, and I heard a voice. I can call it in simple language. I can. Sometimes I do. The thoughts. Yeah. We have recognized so many things that from the moment, wherever it was, in time, in that place, captured in what we may call long-term memory, maybe it is short, of the production of air through the lips, and recognizing many, many other things. What you might do with this material is perhaps at your disposal, at your hand, or mind, or body, or table, perhaps depending if you're a carpenter of tables or minds, or a body masseuse, or whatever sound you want to place. In time and space. A rhyme. And the thoughts that now, curiously, I just see the flow of what comes. And as I speak, it is even continuing to speak inside my head. Will we send it to that friend? That it friend? To you? Will we upload it to YouTube? We have that option, you know. Will again we watch if there are 1 views or 5 views? And I watch. It seems I'm exposing my relative understanding, realization of mind, also according to the level I perceive the mind in front of me, inside of me and in front of me. And it seems the mind enjoys measuring that levels. And sometimes keeps saying, oh, we haven't exposed anything yet of what this mind can bring, or what that mind can bring. Will we talk about the four levels of teachings? The receptive yin, silence, body where there's no mind, or the second level of teaching, of not knowing that rises from that silence, that Mother Earth? Or will we cross the border to the third level teachings just because the mind is curious to place objects in time and space, including thoughts? Will we move to the third level, the yang, expressive, bursting, ego mind, simple ego mind to begin with? Will we go further to the fourth level of complex ego mind? Maybe to the fifth or the sixth or the whatever the scale we choose to place it on. You see how it goes way further. Because that's how it seems I grasped it, or still do. From the relative yin force of silence that I found to relate. But it's still here, you see? The expressive thought, yang energy going out, which I seem to put on a scale, third level teaching, fourth level, and I further described it in mind's way on top of body. But there gotta be silences in between, otherwise constant sound and the air I produce through the lips outside, thoughts, language, etc. would not be able to be produced, you see. You can watch all of that. I'm See in which way it stimulates you or destimulates you. And the relative not knowing happening here. Depending on your relative capacity to be aware. Perhaps depending on what kind of carpenter you are. From which wood you're made of. A would be, a should be, a could be. Yeah? Let there be mind. And I still keep listening to the voices of what's the story here? Will we stop? When will it stop? I keep listening. You've got your own way that you create furniture. Maybe to this friend as well. I haven't quote unquote planned consciously to speak about carpentry. But I seem to grasp with my ears, along many other sounds, the word table. And I didn't even translate this acoustic to the light here, which is a fantastic phenomenon in and of itself. Mind I did here, and I did bring the table of mind here, table of context. This shape, if you've learned to read, light. Again, specific light you might call the English light. And you've got your relative reference to these shapes. Or maybe a shape, depending on which perspective you're looking. What are you combining together, joining? What are you separating? Yeah. Moving through different realms of observation. Yeah. Ability to pinpoint to that place, and the ability of these sounds to reach to you and point you. In, out, black, white, mind, body. You see, it's already within your set of framework, or during perhaps all your awake and aware and your asleep unaware times, maybe since you were born, maybe before, like drops put inside of you. Many have described it in different ways. Many carpenters of mind. Perhaps I'm just one of these carpenters, and as a joke, maybe due to the way the shape of my hair used to be and the shape of my beard or my eyes, I used to be shaped as and called Jesus. True story, true story. And I was working in computers. The story goes that he was also a carpenter, you see, and we're speaking about tables here. You mind telling me what are we talking about? But if you listen within you, then that's it. Then it doesn't matter if I make sense or I don't, or I mind this or that. With some it's clear, it just flows and you just listen to the acoustics or look at the visual, and there's an experience interpretation, and that's it. With others, there's another interaction. I was working in IT, in computers. I used to be, in some cases, when I used to send an email to one of the clients, my nickname was Jesus. His choice, you know. And it again, just a flow of associations. Table, Carpenter, Jesus, IT, work. Am I Jesus perhaps in a way, if I've been called like that? But maybe this air coming to your ears and you separate it from the rest. Yeah? And it has been spoken to some of us that that's the way of the mind. Split things visually, acoustically, with a smell, with a touch. Separate objects because it can separate objects because that's what it does. In a way, I'm surprised that that's what was or is being spoken. I watch it. This is all what I'm capable in this moment. I want to bring it further to you, and whether are you as well satisfied of what you're capable in the moment, and maybe be satisfied if you're unsatisfied, if your mind is empty or your mind is full. I see the voice inside of me says thoughts. Will I use the F word that was used? Because some places it's forbidden, some places it brings jokes. Come on, say it. No, not this time. And I listen to this as well. It seems in my path I expose, even if I put here eventually again on this mind-oriented virtual reality or insanity, visual and acoustic platforms that mind, body both created in order, right? It's a whole different lecture about the virtual world through the specific senses of acoustic, and visual and eyes and ears and the dissociation of the rest of the senses through the virtual world, and it's for another time, I assume. I tried and still have been trying in this present progressive movement to bring my relative message of mind. I still do. I'm discovering what I'm discovering about different things and whatever carpentry it may be. Even in the language, the way we move words, and the way it's being received and then brought back is, I would say, highly limited. So in that spectrum, I'm even highly limited myself in what I can bring to you. I'd say the beauty of mine, and I am a beautiful mind. And as to some, I say I've not exposed a bit of it, because that's what I perceive. In the lost mind world, and that I even put, it seems it's been put on me, the camouflage of mind deception, of even myself get lost, because it's an contagion aspect, highly contagious. The lost minds, the tainted bodies. I'm not giving here, actually, maybe it will never be my thing, doing specific technique, or maybe not now, of how to really be lost and found, really be lost. So sometimes, perhaps, as the Carpenter Jesus was attributed to this, in a way, an interesting carpenter, whether it was in Matthew or Luke. In recent years, I've read a bit about this carpenter, and he was asked why he speaks in parables. This carpenter was asked by his disciples, and he said something like, "Good gracious, bombacious." No, maybe he didn't hear this song back then. He said something like, I won't bring the quote at the moment, something like, "Let those who have ears hear, and let those who have eyes see." And sometimes I'm enjoying bringing what's been printed in shapes in the book that tells the story of a carpenter. At least I was told he was a carpenter. And again, we started from the table, or when I was brought to life in the hospital table or bed. Oh yeah, maybe it was actually the carpentry of beds and tables. So this is a journey to get lost in the mind, and the Carpenter also spoke about it in I bring the story because anyway they don't get the simplicity of the messages. So I speak about the parables of the the grains in the fields, or there are many nice stories. I have it somewhere more in the what seems to be the Hebrew language at the moment, about this woman or this field and these grains. And I'm tempted to tell some of these Carpenter's stories. But anyway, where were we? I don't know, but does it matter to you? In a way, if you know at any time, or you're aware where you are in this now, all this very sometimes attractive mind, contemplation, observation, now, presence, then it really doesn't matter, even if you get way, way lost on the highway of mind. Or body, for that matter, you see. And you can always reset. Perhaps that's the power of the now, but it has been so thoroughly dissected and digested, so. But hey, I mentioned the power of the now. There you go. And yeah, maybe this is just my message to this it friend that does what he does. Maybe it's just the way to, sometimes I say, to pass on time, because big elephant cannot always use small exits, if you know what I mean, or if you know what you mean. So there was a journey through different concepts, and for me it's all very clear from the first moment to the last, in each moment. Maybe it's also to you. Seems well, I did speak about one carpenter, maybe not others, and maybe through a specific this technique or the other, which I'm inclined, and I do share sometimes, producing the air from my mouth about human design and vipassana, and I don't know, meditation, whatever the case may be in this air production. But that's the message for now. It's a very clear and distinct one about the way you can interpret, and you are. I'd say you cannot avoid it, but maybe you can. About the light reaching your eyes. This shape, Carpenter shape printed here. Yeah, this is the modern printing. I don't know if to say eco-friendly or not. Modern paper. So the shape of light and the shape of sound. For another time, maybe I will leave this talk about the limited, sophisticated version of our way of using the technology and all of that, but mainly to remain relatively nicely stuck in acoustic and visual, the mind realms. There are other aspects, yeah, but in relation to others, and the touch and the smell, taste, it's, I don't have to say absent, it's memory and all of that. So this was the table of context, my very clear to me messages, where maybe if I upload it eventually, I'd curiously watch, 1 view, 4 views, great, great, oh no, great, no, great, And there'll be again within me the discussion is to make populistic carpentry. And if I'm capable of that, that would reach the IKEA consumers. But well, that's this moment's carpentry. Um, so we'll see next time what story comes from this shape. This basically is recording this to me, even if in this seance of memory I brought some of you up, without mentioning names for the moment, to keep it kind of mysterious and vague. And when I realize that I can speak to you, but don't really know if I'm speaking to you because the name was lost somewhere, and you is a very specific and general name at the same time. But I am speaking to you always. And perhaps at this moment I won't elaborate further. I can go a long way with it in this carpentry. Let those who have ears hear, listen, and let those who have eyes see, and for the rest, maybe I learned from one carpenter about parables and creating carpentry of parables. Let there be mind. Let there be mind. And in the curiosity of carpentry, perhaps, maybe just last one message. Please, can we? Can we? Just if you turn upside down, maybe you write on a paper this first shape from the left. M. I can catch the light and translate. It's phenomenal, huh? M. And you can identify with it and go to that shape, huh? Phenomenal. Truly phenomenal. And then you place it bottom up, yeah. So it turns to a W, because now we see an M, and then maybe we find the aspect of wind, or maybe it's wind. It's not yet spirit. That's from another story, and I leave it at that for this moment. You can play with the shapes, the carpentry of these shapes. And perhaps see if you produce an IKEA model or your own shape model carpentry. Of mine.